What is up, everyone? I'm Fritzy, and this is me talking to myself. If you don't know what talking to myself is, it's basically just a spoken journal. Sometimes I write down my thoughts. Oftentimes, it's just easier for me to speak my mind. I come to a lot of conclusions actually when I'm speaking out loud. So I guess it's kind of like a vlog, but I don't really have anything pre-planned. Oftentimes it's nothing. Sometimes I have a bit of a thought. Today I do have a bit of a thought on kind of a topic that I'd like to talk about, and which is my acting and why I chose the career I did and why I can't leave it, why I need acting. But first, if you've been watching my videos, probably the background looks a bit different. Well, super different. It's not because I'm away from my studio. I'm just in my living room. I've been doing this thing where I've been practicing my acting and doing self-tapes, and a lot of self-tapes you want to have kind of like a blank background. That's why there's nothing there. And I just figured I'm recording with my cell phone, and sometimes the framing and there's weird technical issues. So once I get it set up, I'm just like, may as well just keep going. And I'm just in the mood to keep going. So I guess a little bit of brief history of why I like acting, and then I'll kind of go a little bit more in depth. I was introduced to acting, I think it was grade 4. I was always doing these, grade school, there's like music classes, and you're singing kind of, okay songs, not really anything interesting. And I remember one time we were going to music class, I was complaining to my schoolmates, I was like, this is dumb, this is lame, blah, 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 blah. And we show up, and it wasn't the music teacher, it was a substitute. And he was like, hi, Mr. I can't even remember the guy's name, but I'm an acting teacher. What is this? And I was kind of unsure, but he got right into what's called improv games, just kind of like acting games. And I just remember falling in love. I remember that we were doing some game where you kind of go up and play different characters, and watching other people. I was a bit shy at first. Watching them do kind of fun stuff, but they were a little bit shy, and I was like, I can go up. I bet you I can do this. And I remember going up and just fell in love with it. And I remember coming home and telling my mom, and she, oh, that's nice. My mom's always been pretty supportive, but for some reason, that one class, because he wasn't there the next week and never saw him again, that experience stuck with me all the way up to junior high, because I actually didn't get another chance to act. I didn't know that you could kind of create your own stuff at home or record things or anything. My head was usually into video games, but that experience, I was like, I want that to happen again. So junior high came, and I just jumped right into it. And then up into high school, and I found that at first I was kind of intimidated in the sense of memorizing lines and saying stuff, partly because I'm a little bit dyslexic, and I was pretty illiterate for many years. So I found that intimidating, but the payoff once I had the lines committed and I was like presenting to somebody, I was in the moment connecting with somebody, I just loved it. It took me years, and it'll probably take me even more years to fully understand why I love it. So there was a bit of a passion, but I remember towards in high school, there's a lot of kind of overacting. You're like, this is what I'm feeling, and that's what I'm feeling. Towards the end of high school, I was starting to, tone down the overacting, get a little bit more in line with, real life. And then I went to post-secondary for acting, and my acting improved, but it also got destroyed. It was the first time in my life like simultaneously. It was the first time in my life that I hated acting and I thought it was hard. And, the instructors, they just said, well, because when you advance, there's challenging things that are just going to make you dislike it. I've come to the realization that it wasn't that. Though I don't necessarily blame them. I think it's just the approach to acting that's happened. So that's kind of a long-winded history, but and I'll get into kind of what kind of got destroyed and how I quit acting, and then I had to go back, and I've fallen in love with it, and I find it far easier than I used to find it. But I think I need to explain a few acting terms, because I'm sure quite a few people watching this don't know. So when I say connecting, that's, like you hear that as actors, they talk about connecting with, the character, connecting with the script, connecting with the audience, connecting with the character, like other characters, et cetera, et cetera. What does that mean? It means that you're acting as if it's real life. So, like the high school overacting, it's like, I'm this, or I'm happy, or I'm sad. Like it's very, like, you wouldn't see a human being make these grandiose gestures, unless they're being facetious, which, then that might be kind of truthful. But you're living in your own emotions, and you're speaking in imaginary circumstances, but you're speaking as if it's happening. Just as I'm talking right now, I'm not putting on a performance. I feel whatever emotions I have at this exact moment. I do not know what I'm going to say next. The words keep flowing out. And that's a bit of a challenge. You're memorizing lines because there's a story. But then when you approach the lines, you need to approach them as if it was the first time. So that's oftentimes how you'll see the difference between a good actor and a bad actor is a bad actor or an okay actor, they'll like say the line straight through. And this was me for quite a long time, because you memorize it. You have a general emotion. You have like some ideas, but you're just kind of reciting things that, the thoughts aren't coming to you. You're not being spontaneous. Like the fact that I just touched my head. I didn't tell myself beforehand that I'm going to express that. It's just my hand decided to do that. So it's kind of like you're memorizing this roadmap, and you've imagined a circumstance, and then how you choose to move through that is spontaneous within those guidelines. And so kind of going back to where I found I lost some love, or found it was really hard, and there's a lot of, in school, there's a lot of technique. So you break down a script and you go, okay, with this one line, someone saying, I love you to another person. What is your intention? How are you going to say it? Da, 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 da. And it's like you're already pre-planning how you're going to get to the destination instead of just following the roadmap. I think the best kind of big metaphor maybe is, it's not that the techniques are bad, but if you're somebody who drives consistently, if you remember when you were learning to drive, it was probably like the most stressful thing ever. And there's a lot of techniques, there's a lot of things you have to consider. In order to not get in an accident and all that kind of stuff. But you kind of have to let that go. And it's like, it's not that you forget how to drive safely, but it's, now you're focusing on the road. Now you're focusing exactly what's in front of you, not all these other things. And so that's what happens, like where it gets difficult with acting is like you're making all these choices, you're doing all these technical things. And so while you're saying the lines, you're not talking to the audience or the person in front of you, you're thinking about, I need to make this choice. Like when I'm driving and someone cuts me off, I haven't pre-planned that they're going to cut me off and I'm going to maneuver. I'm driving, I'm minding my own business, I'm in my own world. someone cuts me off, I react and I maneuver to that. So that's hopefully that clears that up. But yeah, so you're acting really hard, and it was just brutal. I really disliked it. And here's the thing with acting and any art is there's almost no money in it. There's almost no money at all. For a very lucky few there is, but it's not why you pursue it. You pursue it because it's like, I'll express for myself, because I dropped it for, I think, 6 years entirely. And I pursued a coffee career, which did have its benefits, but it was as if every single day I was dealing with the sorrow of losing a loved one. That's how painful it felt. So if you've lost a loved one that was super dear to you, it was like it was repeating every single day. And I got very good at like kind of pushing it down. But by the end of that period of, I think, 6 years, I just couldn't stand it anymore. And so then I quit, and then I decided to first I was pursuing YouTube, which, this is being uploaded on YouTube. But I feel like a lot of my YouTube stuff that I was going for was, I was terrified of the negative feeling that I had with acting. So I did every artistic thing that was relatively similar except acting. And then I got to the point that I was like, I can't stand it. And I managed to find an agent, and then things have progressed. And, I think, I remember having a conversation with my wife probably 9, maybe 6 months ago. And quite a few people on numerous occasions have been like, have you considered going back to school? Have you considered, not working at a coffee shop for your living? I know you love acting, but, and I'm not passionate about the fact that I work at a coffee shop, but it is also the most flexible thing for me to pursue what I actually love. If I pursued something that was 9 to 5, it blocks all opportunities. I can, of course, create my own opportunities, which is, this is sort of kind of doing that, but, yeah. And I remember, having that conversation with my wife, and I was just like, there's so many logical, reasons to go another direction. But it's like, every time I thought about it, I was like, it would be like, again, just losing a loved one. Like, it's that deep in me. And I would never recommend acting. I would never recommend any art unless it hurts you not to do so. And I've been repeating that quite a bit. I've said that in other videos. I've been saying that over and over to other people. And I think that's in general for any passion, I think sometimes when you're going after a career and you're not passionate about it, but the money's there, that's nice. But there was a period when I was a manager and I was making decent money, but I spent it all because I was miserable, and now I make hardly anything and I am saving money. Because on my downtime, I'm not trying to suffocate the pain. I'm actually acting, it's funny, a thing about actors as opposed to maybe an artist or someone who's, sketching, you can just easily pull out a pen and start drawing. But actors, we think that we need somebody to give us work. So the only work I get is if I get an audition or I book a role, and that's my one thing for the year, one thing for the next few months. And it's like, well, why don't I just write my own thing? Or why don't I just find some kind of dialogue that I liked off a TV show or make it my own? And I don't need to show anybody. I just want to work on my art because it's for me. I don't want to show anybody. Or if I am showing somebody, it's not for your approval. I don't care about what you think. It's about me. I think, as artists, we're told so much that we have to be selfless. We have to give up to the world. But it's like, you can't be honest unless you're selfish and creating the thing that you care about. So, I get to the point, I finally booked a job, and I did a commercial. And the funny thing is with some of my struggle with acting, like sometimes it was hard, but sometimes it was easy. And I think I benefited from being lazy. Lazy in the sense of, so I mentioned before that you'd have to write objectives and, goals you need to do with the script. And you see a lot of actors, they have like their pages just covered with other words that aren't the script. I'm super lazy. I just don't care. It's just like it's tedious work, so I never did it. Oftentimes I would memorize lines like days before or like the night before, the morning of. But it became like, because it was like so fresh and I didn't all this pre-planning, I knew enough the script, and the intention that it would come off pretty naturally. And it's funny, so like I look at the finished project product, sorry, of the commercial I did, and I can tell that it was either the second or third take that they took. Now, they took over 30 takes, which is funny. The reason why the first one didn't work is I'm a little bit dyslexic, so sometimes I say words backwards. And that I delivered the line entirely reversed. But I just said it naturally. And then I'm guessing because the director, he's more of a cinematographer. He hasn't done a lot of directing stuff. He seemed to be very focused on pleasing the clients who wanted the commercial. And so he kept directing me to be like really smiley and really like, but when you see it, it's very like just, like I'm kind of playing a lame dad joke, but it comes across natural and I like it. And so it got me thinking up to now, it's like, it's just, I have to let go. I need to not think about pleasing other people. Techniques are fine, but if it's to please you, I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting your time. You're probably more interested in me if I don't care about pleasing you. And I started thinking to myself, why don't I practice acting every day? So, I put up my phone and like before I did this, I was doing a monologue just for the sake of it, just to like express myself and to improve without having some instructor or some authority being. So it brings me now to, I'm in love again. I refound, I always had it, my passion, acting. I understand why I do it. It's easy for me. And I love it. Love should be easy. And I think I just wanted to express that and, give the full context. So thanks for listening. Have a good day. Actually, you know what? Can I say something about the cat? Yeah. This is, and Rhonda, I mean, no disrespect, but this is shit. I mean, you can do it. Go for it. Though, that's not inspirational. That's suicidal. If Pickles decides to go for it, right there, you have a dead cat. These are lies. We're liars. I mean, think about it. Why do people buy cards? It's not because they can say how they think. People buy cards because they can't say how they think. Or they're afraid to. And we're the people who let them off the hook. You know what? I say to hell with it. Let's level with America. Or at least let them speak for themselves. I mean, look at this. Congratulations on your new baby. How about congratulations on your new baby? I guess that's it for hanging out. See you, buddy. Ooh, wait. Look at this. Fancy. Oh, look at this one. All the pretty hearts. Let's take a look inside. Happy Valentine's Day, sweetheart. I love you. That's nice. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Love. What is it? Do you know? Do you? Anyone? If someone were to give me that card, Mr. Vance, I would eat it. It's these cards. It's these movies. It's these pop songs. They're all to blame for all the lies, all the heartache. We're to blame. I think we do a bad thing here. People should be able to say how they feel. How they really feel. Not say some words that are written down by some other stranger. Maybe it's not love. Maybe love doesn't exist at all. Maybe it's glue. What? I just made it up now. It's all crap. We make and peddle crap. And some people choose to believe that crap. Just can't anymore. There is enough bullshit in this world without